finding employment. And with groups like Kaiser and Palm Beach State and FAU and others, we find those students and then we try to help them get jobs here in Palm Beach County. We also have a lot of training grants and scholarship money that we spend. And we have a variety of departments, including veterans that go out and help veterans, their spouses and staffs try to find employment, youth and young adults, disability and special needs folks, and then reentry. And the people from reentry actually go into the prisons and jails, and they try to assist people when they're ready to depart prison or jail to be armed with a resume, to know how to job search, to how to present themselves. And that's a really good population that we have been able to serve over time. We are not the unemployment office. Although the state DEO has had a lot of challenges the last month or so, we are not the unemployment office. And I'll take a minute to talk about some data right now. Our economy was really strong in Palm Beach County entering this crisis, and we do not depend on one industry for our community. We are a very diverse community. To give you some context, in January, there was 19,000 people unemployed total in Palm Beach County. And between March 14th and April 13th yesterday, we had almost 19,000 people file for unemployment during that period of time. We're seeing about 600 to 1,000 people a day now filing for unemployment. We believe that there's a lag in that because now people are filing with paper copies, and that has to take time to get up to Tallahassee and others that are trying to do it electronically. Unemployment was 3% about a month ago. Right now it's probably 6 to 7%, and we expect that number to climb over time. And the numbers coming out in May will probably give us a more realistic picture of what is happening here in our community. If you do know someone that is looking to file, this is the best website to give them direction to, floridajobs.org. And they can click on the reemployment assistance. The state has improved this over the last couple of days. We're not hearing as many complaints for people to get in there to file. So if you know someone that is looking to file, this is the website to direct them to, floridajobs.org. And if employers are looking to downsize or furlough, if they're looking for assistance, there's also an employer section in the floridajobs.org website. And as most of you know, there's a lot of aid and assistance being pushed out to small and medium businesses. We need to continue to try to help businesses stay in business and or get back in business, because that's the lifeblood of our community. If someone is looking for employment, employflorida.com is probably the best website to go to. It does spider and aggregate other job boards out there. So most jobs are available through employflorida.com. And what is good news is right now, we have about 500 open and available jobs in Employ Florida for Palm Beach County. It's a variety of different businesses, but I'll give you the top 5 occupations. Office and administration support, business and financial operations, sales and technical support, healthcare participants, obviously, and then management occupations. So again, about 500 open and available jobs in Employ Florida. Feel free to direct people to that website. We have spent about 3 to 4 years creating the virtual career system. So this is an online version of a career center. Everything you could find in a brick and mortar facility would be available on the virtual career system. It's a great place to take assessments or to direct people to learn how to write a resume, to understand the programs and services that we offer. So feel free to write that down and pass that along. I always like to show this slide because of a few things here. In the United States, and if you look down in South Florida, we're one of the largest metropolitan statistical areas. We're one of the top 11, actually moving to number 5 here. But you can see the large population and job markets that are represented in the United States that are growing jobs. And then the pink bubbles are where jobs are fading and disappearing. This does not surprise me. This is staying relatively the same over the course of time. Our job market is very strong for the most part, and people do cross over city and county lines for employment. That has never stopped businesses from operating. Some of the things we do, we work with the BDB on business relocations, expansions, and growth, the economic development offices of major municipalities, state and local government through the League of Cities, chambers of commerce such as the Greater Palm Beach Chamber and others, and then the higher education institutions and universities and school systems. So we all get involved, and most of you are participants in many of these activities. I don't know if many of you have ever seen the Florida Chamber Foundation's 2010 vision. It continues to come into play in 2020. And if you look at the far left, the pillar of talent, support, and education, Mark Wilson and Jerry Parrish from Florida Chamber always say, if you don't have the first pillar, the other 5 pillars really don't matter. And I continue to agree with that. Our governor would love to see our state become the #1 state for talent development and workforce, and I think we all collectively buy into that and support that. So we'll continue to do that. Some of our training grants, we have 3 that are very popular. The on-the-job training grant to help companies hire people and bring them on board, usually a 3-month training grant where we can reimburse the company for that training. Customized training, a lot of companies like to do specific training to what they need. Many times we have funds available to support that. And then incumbent worker training, which is administered by the state of Florida through CareerScource Florida, is another way to help businesses that are for-profit gain training for their staff. We always, this leads to a new credential or certification, and that's the whole goal from the Department of Labor. Career fairs and expos, I can tell you with Kaiser and with Palm Beach State and with Florida Atlantic and Lynn University, we love to do job fairs. There's nothing better than putting job candidates in front of hiring managers. And at the bottom left, you'll see that we are doing a career expo next Wednesday, the 22nd, with Palm Beach Tech, with Boca Raton Innovation Campus. This is the first time we've done a virtual job fair. I'm very interested to learn how this will go. We have 16 companies signed up as of this morning. And the way that it is and how it works is companies basically take a space, or like you would think of a shop in a mall, and candidates can go in and look at the company and learn about the company and their open jobs. If they want to apply for a job, they apply directly to the company and can upload their resume. If the hiring manager that's present from the company likes the candidate, they go into a separate chat room and begin a conversation, which we hope will lead to a Skype or a Zoom or a GoToMeeting face-to-face that they can talk one-on-one with each other. And I think this is the wave of the future. I think a lot of our job fairs moving forward will be virtual and hopefully back online live, where we can have people that come and meet with employers face-to-face. And we'll see how that develops. But if you want to participate, this is on our website. If you know candidates available, you can go to any of these partners at the bottom's website to register. It does not cost anything. I'm going to take a little bit of time to talk about apprenticeships. The Trump administration has pushed a lot of funding and money into apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeships, and I think this is going to be a trend. We have been very active in trying to apply for grants in pre-apprenticeships, and we have been awarded a number of grants over the last year or so. We partnered with CareerScource Brevard, which is the Melbourne area, on a nice aviation aerospace engineering grant. We've won several to date, and it's been braiding not only Department of Labor money, but Department of Commerce money, and I think you'll see Department of Education money start flowing into this. And it will focus on trying to get students. We have a very large industry in aviation here, as you may know, and that's the whole goal, is to get younger people or career transitioners into that career. We partnered with our friends to the north, the Research Coast, Treasure Coast, on a marine maritime grant that is launching as well. These are some of the occupations we're focused on, trying to get the students into on-the-job training grants when that class concludes. And we recently received a grant for the life sciences pharmaceutical. We're starting to work with collective partners on that grant. So keep an eye on that. I think you will continue to see emphasis and funding on pre-apprenticeships and apprenticeships. This is a really good slide that shows the ramping on and ramping off of pre-apprentices. And you can see that people will come into this and some will immediately go into full-time or part-time work, or you will have students that go into that career but continue their educational path. And hopefully we'll find companies that will want to help the individuals and the students pay for part of their advancement that leads to stackable credentials. But I love this slide because it's just as clear as day to see how people can get on and off into pre-apprenticeships and apprenticeships while maintaining their path to a higher education. It's a great slide. I'm going to switch gears for a few minutes and talk about the gig economy. The state of Florida has been working for about 1.5 years now on focusing on the gig economy. And here in the state of Florida, and specifically Palm Beach County, we're talking about 1/3 of our jobs. And this clearly defines what it is. The blue bubble is your traditional work arrangements and the number of jobs and self-employed. Then on the orange bubble to the top right, you have your non-traditional work arrangements. And then you have your alternative work arrangements. And you can see that is where it's starting to grow. And I came from an era, as my parents, where you hopefully find a job and you stay with the company a long time. That is no longer the norm. And I think with this whole pandemic and going through this exercise, the world of work is changing before our eyes. Some of the archetypes of the gig workers, and I hope you'll read through this. You can see the subscriber, how they are focused on full-time work, and it's a gig by choice. It's a side hustle by choice. The reluctant, where they're just trying to supplement, do what they need to do out of necessity. The alternative, this can be both full-time and part-time. The supplementer, where they're looking for additional income. The retiree, and we certainly see a lot of that here in Palm Beach County in South Florida. And the enthusiast. So you probably know people that fit into one or more of these categories, but this is a very good slide to help define the types of gig workers. And we are participating here in Palm Beach County on the state's work group that's really spending time on this, and you can see why. And that's why Peter Pignataro, my colleague here, and Julia, we really spend time on this because we have the highest employment of gig workers right now, and I think that will continue to increase. We started a survey a couple of months ago to gig workers to ask them where they were focusing on their time. And this is a tally of responses to about 500 individuals that responded. And this may or may not surprise you, but you can see transportation, where we think of Uber and Lyft drivers. That's really not the highest amount right now. Healthcare, obviously, I think that will even increase with this going on now, and hospitality has obviously been just rocked in that industry. But a lot of people doing side hustle work, gig work. So we want to now, as a state and workforce boards, determine what can we do to provide a toolbox or support for these workers. Do they need marketing to help them better market themselves, to gain more gig work? Do they need some type of assistance with training? These are the point that we're at right now with this whole gig economy, and I'm glad because we are the only state right now that is looking at the gig work. So that is the presentation. Kirby, I'm happy to take questions, whether they chatted into you or you want to read them to me, but I appreciate your time, and I hope that was helpful for everyone.
All right, thank you, Mike. Let me check the chat box, see if there is anything in here. We got some comments. This is very helpful. Thank you. So thank you, Michael, for that. A lot of people enjoyed this. I enjoyed this. Let's see. So I do have a question real quick for you while I'm waiting for some of these to come in. For that employeeflorida.com website, how often are those jobs updated? Are they updating in real time, or how is that being?
Yes, absolutely. Employee Florida is in real time. Employers can go in there, or our business services team can go in there to enter job orders all the time, and many employers do that. There's tons of jobs that come in there. You can search for the job by job title, by zip code, by county, by city. So I would give that a try to see if that works for you.
Okay. All right, the next one is from Mary. She said, I would imagine health insurance is a big concern for gig employees. Is that something that you agree with?
It is. Obviously, benefits with a full-time job or some part-time jobs are a perk that comes with the job. With the Affordable Care Act, a lot of people are doing that. People that have project work or contract work or freelance, they're able to build that fee and that cost into their structure. So I'm sure that healthcare obviously is a big point for everybody, but it is a concern with gig workers.
All right, thank you. The next one is, what resources are valuable for healthcare gig workers?
Well, a lot of healthcare workers, they will work for an agency or a company, and many of them are trying to find, like I said, a side hustle on the side. And they do. They pursue something on their off hours or on the weekends or during holidays and so forth. So many healthcare workers start as like a medical assistant or an LPN and try to move up the ladder. I think that's why it's valuable for them to work with us, because many times, if they're eligible and suitable, we can help them pay for the next rung on the ladder that they go for their next career advancement. And that Kaiser does work with us very well on that, as does Palm Beach State and other career providers here.
All right. We have some more coming in. How can a company get involved with CareerScource?
Sure. My email is on the screen, and feel free to reach out to me, and I'll point you in the right direction within our company and let the staff of that department know what you would like. You can certainly go to CareerScourcePBC.com and go through that and find out if you would like to work with us in some capacity.
Okay, perfect. Do you have a link to register for the virtual job fair?
Yes, if you will send me an email, or you know what I'll do, Kirby, I'm going to send you out the banner with the link, and I think you probably have everybody that participated on this call right now. Just forward that along with them, and if you want to put it in an email to them, that would be helpful.
Okay.
We'd love to have more organizations involved.
Absolutely. I haven't had any more come in. We can wait just a few more minutes just in case. We can also open up some mics if some of the callers that called in and don't have access to chat want to ask anything, we can do that. So I will give them a second to unmute their mics if they would like. Okay, I'm gonna hand this over to Kelly real quick. She has a question for you.
Hi, Mike. First of all, thank you so much for your presentation. It really was very useful. I'm looking a little forward and thinking, as we start to go from crisis management into recovery, which is kind of where we are now, some of our members will have job opportunities that they'd like some help filling. And it's it'll be one of those moments where they might want to be selective as to where they place that opportunity. Can you talk a little bit about how they might work with you on job opportunities that they have within their companies going forward?
Great, that's a good question. So we can suppress the company's name in the job orders. That does not have to be visible to job candidates. We're happy to start sourcing candidates for them and screening candidates and pass over those candidates to them that they're willing to call and talk with. We have a stable full of recruiters that focus on different industries. So I think that's probably the best way to handle that. And I didn't talk about our hospitality industry recovery task force. We are trying to be proactive because that industry employs over 70,000 people here in Palm Beach County, and it's just been devastated, unfortunately. So with Discover the Palm Beaches, the Food and Restaurant Lodging Association, with Culture Hospitality and the hospitality team down at Florida Atlantic University, we came up with this recovery team, and we're starting to reach out to all the hotels. And I don't know if you're aware, but we have 165 hotels in Palm Beach County. 60 of them are open right now. So a large number of them have just closed and furloughed or closed for a period of time. And we're reaching out to them to try to see when they will be looking to open again. We want to do virtual hiring events and recruiting and screening for them at a given point in time. And as they ramp back up, we want them to be back in business without a whole lot of obstacles in their place. So we are trying to be proactive. I think we'll try to do that with a couple of other industries.
That sounds great, Michael, and very proactive. And if you would do me a favor and just keep us apprised here at the Chamber on how that team is going forward and what we might do to help, I would be really interested in that. So thank you for sharing that information. I'm going to pass the headphones back to Kirby so she can help you facilitate any other questions that are coming in. But thank you so much for that, that excellent and thoughtful answer. Here's Kirby. Hold on.
All right, I don't have any other questions in the chat box. So I think as of right now, we're done with that. If anybody didn't get a chance to ask a question on here, you can always reach out to me or Michael, and we would be happy to answer any questions that didn't get answered on here today. And later on, you might think of something that you didn't think of during this, so you can always reach out. I do want to remind everybody we do have another Health and Human Services virtual presentation next month on May 12th, same time, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. You can register for that on the Chamber website and contact me if you have any questions. I just want to thank you again, Michael, for this awesome presentation, and thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you.